Welcome back, everyone, to the program. Well, let's continue with the conversation. Before we went on break, we were discussing the soon-to-commence 9th Assembly and what some people have described as an impending leadership tussle. But then let's take a look at what happened during the 8th National Assembly and the regional spread. You can see there the president from the Northwest region, that's President Muhammadu Buhari, and then the vice president from the Southwest region, the then Senate president was from North Central, and, well, still the current Senate president anyway, and the deputy Senate president from the Southeast. Moving on to the lower house, that's the House of Representatives. The speaker was from the Northeast, and the deputy speaker from the Southwest. So the question is, what would happen for the 9th Assembly? I mean, no doubt zoning is a big deal in Nigeria, especially because of the spread. I mean, a country that has hundreds of ethnic groups and what have you, you would expect that people would agitate to have some form of representation, not just in the House, but then at the higher level, if I might say, that's talking about the leadership. And at this moment, I'm still being joined live from Abuja by Honorable Khadija Bukar Ibrahim. And well, she's a member-elect of the House of Representatives. And right next to her, we have Honorable Robinson Uwak, who was a member of the 7th Assembly. They join us live from Abuja. And right here in our Lagos studios, we have Mr. G.T. Ogunye, Channels Television's legal consultant. So let's still talk more about the zoning. And this is actually for the people that have been in the House of Representatives and for Honorable Bukar Ibrahim, who's going to be a part of the 9th National Assembly. Now, this is a rumor, some form of insinuation that has been going around, that there appears to be some form of unity, or should I say alliance, with the People's Democratic Party. And some have said they might just be members of the PDP, might just be power brokers in this coming 9th Assembly. Do you see a prospect of that?
Well, the beauty of democracy is actually having parties get along, get on. So if the PDP decides to lean towards APC and give support for leadership to emerge, that won't be very surprising. After all, we all have to put hands on deck to make sure that our democracy works. And if the opposition decides to join with the ruling party to make up the numbers to actually win the seats that we are contemplating, then there's nothing wrong with that. So, and I wanted to add earlier, which I should really remind us all about, is that the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive are all partners in progress. So we all have interests, they all have interests in decision-making as to who emerges, because we have to get on. It's not a matter of competition, and it's not a matter of anonymity, but we have to come together to make our country progress as the three arms of government. So therefore, I think that the president actually showing interest there's nothing wrong in that.
Okay. Now, don't you think the...
He has done all
don't you think the APC will be conceding a lot? I mean, with that sort of alliance means that the PDP will definitely make demands. If we're going to partner with you, then we need this, this, and this. Don't you think the APC will be, you know, as it were, conceding too much? Especially because, I mean, you have the majority. So you stand in a poor position.
Well, in all aspects of life, you have negotiation, where two teams come together, sit down and try and decide on a certain issue and reach a consensus. So therefore, I feel that if the PDP, they're very welcome. After all, the beauty of democracy, like I mentioned, is having competition. If there's no competition, there's no democracy. So if there is competition and they decide to sit down with their competitors, then I think it's beautiful. It's an excellent development for the PDP and the APC to sit together and reach a compromise on how to forge ahead and how to make our country move forward.
All right. So let's get to another issue that has trended over time. Now, there is no representation without the people that are represented. Now, a lot of people have said once elections are over, they don't get to see their representatives anymore. And this is for Mr. Owak, who was a member of the 7th Assembly. I'm sure from your experience, you'll have noticed a few things, maybe things you wish would have been corrected. So the question is, how should representation be done in Nigeria such that the people at the grassroots don't feel left behind?
Kikelu, right? First of all, before you have good representation, you must consider having good leadership. And I can tell you from experience that the next Speaker of the House of Representatives is not going to move a single motion on the floor of the House, nor is he expected to, be doing the same things that the other members do. The qualification, therefore, means that what you need to become an effective and efficient speaker is that you must be relatable, and secondly, you must have a good sense of judgment, and you must wear the aura of leadership. Now, when you talk about integrity, integrity does not come from the television screens. Background checks need to be conducted to be able to ascertain those who have integrity and command leadership positions in this country. And my brother, I want to tell Nigerians that all over this country we have competent members-elect who can man this position of speakership. From the North Central, from the Southeast, from the South-South, we have competent people who can make good speakers in this country. So when we talk about competence, we must, first of all, do a background check and a survey to determine that it's not determined on television. So coming to your question about legislators how they can, be effective and, impact on their people. I can tell you, from experience, I think that having the right speaker plays a very, 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 very important role. And I want to tell my, fellow colleagues who are joining this road that, I once, journeyed. I can tell you that you need a good speaker.
Right.
A good speaker will help you.
Right.
In the 7th Assembly, we had a Tambowal who crisscrossed the length and breadth of this country. He was there for every member. And a good speaker will also be able to encourage you and, engage you, and challenge you,
okay,
towards effective representation.
Well, Mr.
That is
Owak,
why it is important
Mr. Owak,
for...
One question I would also like to put to you is that during this past administration, or this current administration, which is, of course, looking forward to a renewal, is that the presidency said that they weren't able to do much because not much support was gotten from the National Assembly. So in this coming assembly, how do you think there can be some more synergy? Because, I mean, whether you like it or not, these two arms have to work together.
Thank you very much. My brother, I want to tell you quickly, the president has one of the best chances at the moment to have a speaker who shares the same vision as his. As I can tell you, from the north central part of this country, where there is a very strong agitation for speakership, there is a man who has the same foundation and orientation as the president, a man who has followed Mr. President's policies, principles, and programs from the foundation of the CPC days. And that man is Honorable Mohammed Bago. The challenge that you have between where the president has problems with, other officers is the background. There's a conflict in the focus.
All right, Mr. Owak, we seem to be running out of time, and I'd like to get a response from Honorable Bukar Ibrahim. Now, this is, of course, about the coming Ninth Assembly. You will be a part of the Ninth Assembly, and I'd like you to give us your commitment. How would you ensure that, you know, the presidency, as you like, will get enough support to ensure that things are achieved?
Well, first of all, I think once we toe party lines and listen to ourselves more than any other person outside, when we decide from within and not from outside, I think that things will work out effectively. I think that, first of all, like coming back to what you asked him about the grassroots, I think the voters from the grassroots know who they are talking about and why they chose a particular candidate. Now, the current proposal from the president to choose Femi Gbajabiamila goes out to show that Femi, who has always been in the House and has adequate cognate experience, is capable of leading the Ninth Assembly because the APC has the numbers to actually carry the whole leadership of the party,
Honorable Buka Ibrahim,
the leadership of the House along.
I think that's a great place to dock right now. But before we wrap up on the show, I'd like to get Mr. G.T. Okunye's opinion. A lot of people believe that members of the National Assembly are, as it were, overpaid. Now, I'm saying this because a member-elect is listening right now. What is your opinion? Do you think indeed they are? And if they are, should they be slashed?
Well, you just heard the member-elect saying that integrity is not determined on television or on the screen, self-celebrating the members as if they represent the best in Nigeria. I think that we must be humble. There must be humility in service. And so you don't have integrity when Nigerians for the past 20 years have been crying that you overpay yourself and that your financial situation is opaque. And you are not dealing with that. You defy Nigerians, don't buy vehicles, you buy for yourselves. Okay? And so you can talk about zoning and all that. Politicians play up primordial sentiments and anti-parties to grab positions of responsibility. Not so much because they feel for their so-called constituents that they are representing. And you asked a question earlier that once you are elected, then how do you relate to your constituents? Most of them are not seen anymore. So I think that this National Assembly that is coming to play must not just talk about unity, must not just talk about, they must think seriously about working for the ordinary people in this country.
Mr. Ogunye,
and that's where, you know, Nigeria will continue to then respect them.
I like that perspective, and thank you so much for joining us on the program. I'd like to say a big thank you to our guests joining us from Abuja, Honorable Buka Ibrahim and Honorable Owak. I beg your pardon. Thank you so much for joining us on the program tonight. Well, that's the show for today. We appreciate your time. Happy Easter, everyone.